What's up, guys? I'm BTC. Welcome back to the Respawn, the series where I answer your questions. Let's get started. First up, should Orisa get a new ultimate? Yes, I think she absolutely should. It's not that her ultimate is bad. I just don't really think that it fits with a tank character. It kind of feels more like something a healer would have, or possibly even a DPS. So there are a lot of different things that Orisa could have for an ultimate and still use the same animation. There could be all kinds of different effects that would occur when she drops the bongo on the ground, all that sort of stuff. You could have damage resistance for your team, you could slow down the enemy, you could push the enemy back away from them, you could lock them in place, you could have some sort of like immobilize or slow, all these different kind of things. They fit now with the new version of Overwatch 2 and the tank characters, who are really the only ones who are supposed to have CC. So yes, I do think that she should have a different, more impactful ultimate. And also, don't make it so that the bongo can be destroyed. I don't like that part at all. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark, one of the world's leading VPN. Protecting yourself online is getting more important every day, and Surfshark provides some of the best security available with high-level encryption and a multi-hop system allowing connections to 2 servers for extra protection. Surfshark has a very strict no-logs policy which guarantees your privacy online. Now with so many people spending more time at home, one of Surfshark's best features is the ability to access region-locked streaming content anywhere in the world. Surfshark gives you access to dozens of streaming libraries including Netflix, Disney Plus, and more. This allows you to view content that might be blocked in your area but is available somewhere else. Surfshark also has great 24/7 support and a 30-day money-back guarantee, meaning you have nothing to risk when you try it out. And right now you can take advantage of a great special offer using my code BLAMETC or the link down below. You can get 83% off and 3 months free. But the offer is only good for a limited time, so click the link down below and try it out. Will we get to pick which map type we want to play in Overwatch 2? And to clarify, when I say the map type, I'm not talking about the difference between quick play and competitive. I'm talking about the difference between the payload map versus a control map sort of thing. And this is very similar to just kind of a generic map select that I've been wanting for a very long time. And unfortunately, Blizzard has been pretty reluctant about this. What they've said is they would rather have a map get fixed than have people just not play it, which is all fine and good, but it doesn't really quite work that way. Because there's a difference between having a map that's balanced and having a map that's fun. And I've talked about this in the past, where you could have a map that is a perfect 50-50 win-loss for both the attackers and the defenders, and people just don't enjoy it because it's not a very good map and it's not a fun map. And that's a big thing. And really, there are going to be kind of overlap with the different game mode types as well. So not just the specific maps, but also the type. So you might not like the control point, or you might not like the payload maps, that sort of thing. Should you be able to pick? Yes, you should. Is Blizzard actually going to do that? I'm not sure. I kind of think that they might end up doing something like that, though, because in PvE, I have a feeling you're going to be able to pick whichever campaigns and whichever missions you want to go on. So you're going to be able to pick the exact maps that you want to play on for the PvE mode. And I feel that once that happens, you're going to have even more people complaining that they can't pick it for PvP. So I think eventually they're probably going to do it, but maybe not right away. Next up, how good would an ability to copy other abilities be? You're basically talking about a non-ultimate version of what Echo has, where you just take one ability instead of copying the entire character. And I think it would work fine. I was actually working on a hero concept right before Echo got released that did just that. It was kind of like a thief character where you would be able to take one of the enemy abilities. And I was having a difficult time deciding on how it should work, whether or not you should be able to just take it and have it locked out from the enemy player, or if it would just copy it, or any of that sort of thing. So there's a lot of different balance issues, but it would definitely overlap with some of the functionality of what Echo does. Now, the question is, does that matter? And the answer is no, it doesn't. There should be lots of overlap, and I've been saying this ever since I started making my very first hero concept Ares way back in the day. There needs to be more character overlap. There need to be more characters in the game, period, but there needs to be more overlap. You don't want to have just Lucio being the only character that can provide speed boost. And you don't want to have Ana as the only character that can provide anti-heal. These are bad ideas. You want to have multiple characters that can do this so that you're not just stuck in these kind of singular pick type situations. And you really do need to have more characters and more overlap. So could you get this to work? Yes. It would be a little challenging on figuring out exactly how the mechanics and the functionality would work, whether it's just copying or if you actually take it and you lock out the enemy player and that sort of thing. But I think it absolutely could work, and it doesn't matter that it overlaps with Echo. Next up, real quick one, does Amplification Matrix stack with other damage buffs? Yes, it does, and there is no limit to it, which means that you can have Mercy damage boost plus Nano boost plus Orisa supercharger plus whatever else. All of those damage boosts will all stack together, and there is no limit to it. Also, speed boosts work the same way. You can have any number of speed boosts on your character, and they will all stack. However, for damage resistance, you can have multiple damage resistance on your character, and they will stack, but only up to 50%. So, damage boost and speed boost have no limit, but damage resistance does, and it's 50%. Next up, do you think a tether ability would work for a tank hero, specifically providing damage resistance? Yes, absolutely. This is something that I've been talking about for years. Originally, I mentioned it as a possible buff for Roadhog to turn him to an actual tank, and I think I had two versions of it, where you could either choose your teammate or it would just connect to who happened to be closest, either one, but obviously Blizzard didn't end up using that, but I ended up using it later for one of my own hero concepts called Brute, although I did change some of it, so it's not just a flat damage resistance to your teammates. Originally, I thought something like that might work, but I ended up kind of thinking it was a little boring, so I made it a little more interesting. So what Brute does is he will tether to any teammate, and then when they take damage, Brute will take a portion of that damage, but he also gets a damage resistance buff while the lifelink is up. So it benefits you as the tank because you get the damage resistance from all attacks, but you also have to absorb some of the damage from your teammates. But yeah, you can definitely do this. There are a bunch of different ways that you could have any kind of a tether from your tank to your teammates where you can either absorb the damage or you can just provide some kind of a buff. It absolutely would work. And I'm really kind of confused as to why Blizzard hasn't done anything like that. And that leads into the next question. What are the hardest things to balance with your hero concepts? And that would be anything that's completely unique and that doesn't exist in the game right now. There are lots of different things that provide damage boost or projectile attacks and all that sort of stuff. And you can easily compare that on paper and come up with something that's going to be mostly balanced, even if you just kind of throw it into the game. But for stuff like Brute's lifelink, for example, that is very difficult because there's nothing like it at all in the game. But thankfully, with the workshop now being what it is, I'm able to actually test that. And I have tested Brute. I have a fully functional working workshop code for Brute, and I've been playing it. I've played it on live streams with a lot of the viewers, and Brute definitely works. So I've taken that character. He absolutely does work. The tether, the lifelink does work, and I've tested it. I've proved that it works. So now with the workshop, there's lots of cool things that I can do, and I can actually test it and get a better idea of how it's going to work. So my most recent hero concept, Delia, for example, I did quite a bit of testing with that character before I even released her with the actual hero concept video. So when I did all that, I was able to come up with numbers for the video that were accurate and that would actually work in the game. And I know that they work because I've tested them. And that's something that I haven't been able to do for any of the other characters. But from Delia and all the other ones going forward, I should be able to test most of those characters in the workshop and actually get the stuff working the way that it should and balanced properly before I even release the video, which is really cool. That's going to be all the questions for today. Thank you to everyone who's submitted one. If you have a question you'd like to see on the Respawn, you can leave it below or on the community tab of my YouTube channel. There's a link for that down below. And don't forget to check out today's awesome sponsor, Surfshark, where you can get a great deal using the link down below. A big thanks to all the Paragons and other channel members for all your support. If you'd like to become one and grab some cool rewards, click the join button down below. And remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.